Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. Today, I'm not going to talk with you about building, nor even about my project. I want to share with you something about my daily routine, about including sports in my life as an entrepreneur. And in particular, how sport is important for you to be a very good entrepreneur. Every day, or mostly every day, about 5 to 6 times per week, on evenings, I go to CrossFit. I have a CrossFit box nearby, and since 3 years now, this is my daily routine. I try to not skip it as if I can. Even if I'm tired, even if I don't like the workout, I try to not skip to it. And there's a very good reason for that. This is the time of the day that I can disconnect and that I can really focus on a specific task. There's no phone, there's no notifications, there's no things in my mind going around. I'm just focusing on this workout. And I think one of the best things that I did to improve my life as an entrepreneur, to include sports in my daily routine, to disconnect at the end of the day and close the day not on a computer, but on a sports activity. I started CrossFit maybe 3 years and a half ago, while already building fiercely. So I was already in this spirit of creating projects. I never did CrossFit before. I had some friends doing it, but for me it was super, this is too hard, this is too violent, this might not be good. But I've done sports all my life. I'm not very athletic, so I don't have an athletic body, but I'm really into sports since my youth. Always active, always doing something. And I could not just be stopped. I was trying to run a little bit before, but it's not what I like. I tried to go to the gym, but the gym for me is very painful. First I need to define what I want to do. Then it's boring. I'm there alone doing something. Then you need to really have a very good discipline. And definitely the gym, it's not for me. I tried already several times in the past and it was not for me. And so I wanted to try something different. And because I had friends that were doing that before, not at my place, but from another places. And they told me about CrossFit. So I had that in the back of my mind. And one day, let's just try. It's also expensive, not the cheapest sport to do, but I decided to try. And I went there. Of course, the workout of the day was really painful. I remember the first week, I couldn't sleep. I was just feeling my body everywhere. I even took painkillers because of sport that I could never imagine that it was possible. But it was really hard the first week. But I don't know, something there really made me love it. Made me, I want to come back. I want to come back. And I started 2 times per week, 3 times per week. And now I'm going there 5 to 6 times per week. So I'm really addicted to it. I cannot spend a day without doing a little bit of sports. So, or when I do, I feel also very guilty, but I feel my body asking me for doing some physical activity. This is super important for the brain as well. But particularly, CrossFit is super beneficial for an entrepreneur. It allows you to build a toughness and resilient mind. This mental aspect is really important. The workouts, as I mentioned, sometimes are really hard. Of course, you can go there and just chill, just be there, just doing my thing, lift some bars, doing some rowing, some running, and so on, and not very active. But that's not my spirit. When I'm into something, I really try to go hard on it. So this mental resilience is super beneficial. You can really go on your limits and stay on your limits and be able to accomplish it. And as an entrepreneur, this is one of the best skills that you can get. So CrossFit really helps me gaining that resilience and being much stronger with my mental focus and my mental discipline. Another important aspect of CrossFit that I find super interesting is this competitiveness. On CrossFit, at the end of the workout, everybody tells what was the time that they did or how many reps they did. And this is not only to compare yourself with the others, but essentially to compare yourself with yourself. Because you know what you did in the previous times. You have your own benchmarks. And if you keep tracking of this data and you keep tracking of where you are, you can always go a little bit beyond your own performance. And again, as an entrepreneur, you always need to go to do something better than what you did the last time. So there's this again brings you this mindset of always trying to achieve more. And that's super important in any type of professional. But as an entrepreneur, it's very good. I mentioned quite a lot that the workouts are very challenging. They are very demanding. So being able to overcome them, being able to be on these daily challenges, that's the life of an entrepreneur. There's no simple day. There's no day that you can just relax. There's always a challenge. There's always something that you need to improve. There's always something that you need to do. So having this mindset again of being able to handle demanding workouts, to really being on your limits and working on above what you usually do, this is another great benefit. But for me, I go to CrossFit not because of these ones. I didn't go because of these three main benefits, but I go there because I'm working mostly at home, not seeing many people. Sometimes I have calls with people, sometimes I don't, but I think this was my way to be involved here in the community at the place where I live, to get out from my home, my apartment, get out. Every day I need to do that. So I don't stay the full day at home without leaving. And being there with this community, this supportive mindset, this is super important. Everybody in the CrossFit, if you finish your workout before the other ones, you don't leave. You don't start cleaning up your material. You go there and try to cheer up for your other peers that you are doing the workout and still haven't finished. And having this community and supportive mindset, it's really rewarding at the end of the day. It's a very good way to end the day, to be honest. And the other one is that I can completely disconnect. This high intensity workout doesn't allow me to think on anything else. Sometimes I try to think on something, but I can't. I really cannot. And this completely disconnection, I need this time every single day. And I try also to end my day with a CrossFit class. I try to not work after the CrossFit, go to one of the last classes of the day. And when I come back home, I just chill a little bit and then go to bed. And I try to work earlier in the next day because I found that this was the best balance for me. I disconnect earlier from my work. I have this activity at the end of the day that allows me that force me to disconnect, and also force me, you have to go to that class at that time, at that schedule. So you cannot postpone your activity or your task, what you're doing forever. And we tend to work much harder and better when we have a milestone. So this is a way for me to have also a deadline every single day to achieve the goals that I set myself to do it. So sometimes I go in the morning or at lunchtime, but very few times, because this routine at the end of the day become very important for my daily routine. This passion for CrossFit also made me try to think where I can build some products, or I can build some projects around CrossFit. And that's what I did in the beginning of this Indie Hackit journey. I started Waddly to create a directory of CrossFit gyms worldwide, and then also try to learn more about programmatic SEO and start being involved in this space. I then put on all this project for a while, but later on, beginning of this year, talking with Elias and about my projects, when we came up, let's try to just make it running and making it working. And it has been a super great experience and a lot of learnings that I had with Elias on this particularly Waddly project. And it's live and it's there, but it's also nice to be able to join these hobbies and these side project that you are building and link the two worlds together. It was a nice exercise, nice project that I did, and then had Elias joining me later on. So quite happy about that as well. Now, another thing that's also regarding sports, when I was a kid, I was doing rowing a lot. I was going there every 3 to 4 times per week, and really active in competitions, and really active in Portugal. I was still living there. But then I stopped doing it. And back in 2015 or so, when I was already in Switzerland. I decided to do it again. And because we have the lakes here, the conditions are perfect. It's much better than in Portugal. I said, let's find a club nearby and let's join them and try to do also rowing, because it's a sport that I love, and maybe as much as CrossFit, especially because there are particular things that I really like. You are in connection with the nature. It's super calm in terms of like there's no noise. You have the noise of the boat, but there's no if the water is calm, it's super relaxing in that sense. And you need to be synchronized to the millimeter nearly with your teammate, because the boat needs to go together. You cannot row on your own. You need to row with them, and especially because the boats are really narrow. Any misalignment on the eyes of your hands, any misalignment between you and your teammate, the boat, it's not balanced. So you will feel it immediately. So the more synchronized you are, the better it is. So I really like this sport. And then I stopped. I started in 2015, but then I went to the US and I stopped doing rowing. And when I come back, I didn't restarted it. But then just end of last year, they invited me for a barbecue. And I said, yeah, I'm missing this. I need to come back. And I decided to come back. And now trying to go once per week or every 2 weeks, depending, trying to balance it. It's not my sport. I go there just for fun and to relax. And what I feel it's super interesting from this experience is that your body, when you come back, you sit in the boat and your body automatically remembers all the movements, all the particularities of that sport. The muscle memory is super incredible. So this is really interesting how you can, by just doing it a few times before, your body automatically can restart it. And one analogy that I do this with entrepreneurship is that this muscle memory that you have can be seen as, like, for example, you try a new project, you try something that you have never tried before, or some technology, some experiment on an area that you are not super familiar with. And you don't keep working on that area forever. But imagine that later on you come back on another project. You need to do again something very similar. You still remember what you did. You can much more easily come back to this activity because you still remember parts of these things. So don't underestimate experimenting with new things, with trying and staying and being a little bit active on many different areas, because this will help you at some point later to see different things. And okay, my memory, my brain still remembers a little bit of that. So when you go, it's not super hard and you already know where to navigate. So don't underestimate that part, because I think it's quite a good analogy and it's very interesting. And just starting recently again, because it was winter, it was not so good. So yesterday I just went back to rowing, and every time I go, I'm really happy. Sometimes, because it's not very close to where I live, sometimes I have more, the lake doesn't look so good. There's traffic jams and so on. I don't want to go. But when I come back, I'm super happy. And the same thing with CrossFit. When I don't want to go because of the walls, but when I come back, I never regret going to a class any day of this journey. So I dare you to try out CrossFit, especially because I think it's super easy. Especially it's super adaptable, so anyone can do. I had a surgery in September, and the same week I went and I was already practicing CrossFit at somehow, not very active, but I was adjusting all the movements. And that's one magic also of the CrossFit. It's for everybody. Don't think that it's only for the bodybuilders and the athletic people, because it's not. It's really for everybody. And it's super inclusive. So yeah, a little bit about my relation with sport and how I see it, how I like it, and especially how I put that as part of my daily routine. And it's not always deadlifts, as Peter Levels won't, but sometimes I also do deadlifts there, and it's really, it's nice. to think about the deadlifts and the relation with the indie hacking community, but especially it's challenging yourself, going beyond your limits, having a routine, disconnect, go do some activity. It's super, super important. And if you can do that with people, I think it's much more rewarding and much more beneficial for you. And that's it for today. I wish you a great week and talk to you next week.